Episode 3.
Episode 3.
So, John, let's get straight into it. Have you got any news?
We had a grading day Saturday, so that was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm losing track of time.
12th? No? Don't know.
Yeah. Got promoted.
Did
up
you?
to brown belt now.
Down to blue belt?
Yeah. So the episode that just came out was saying, I introduced myself as a purple belt,
Yeah.
but actually by the time that came out, I'm now a brown belt.
Crazy.
It is crazy. It's been a long time. I didn't really expect it. I knew like my brother was getting one and stuff, but it was nice. I loved it. And
yeah. Even the whipping?
not so much. I took an absolute beating.
Yeah.
I think that's just because I deal it out so much.
Yeah,
Especially
definitely.
Sean, there's a great photo of him just
Yeah,
like
it's amazing.
pushing my head down and just whipping straight on my back,
Yeah.
which I appreciate the love. And yeah, it was just such a good day. We had Jeff come down, Kev was there, we had Chris Smith from Zion and Andy. They all came down, and it was just a really good day. I think we had about 50 on the mats, and yeah, got promoted alongside a very good friend of mine, Sam, and Harry, my brother, and John, Gregor, and
Otter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who got his black belt
Did
after
get his
I think
black
it
belt.
was 16 years of training now.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So it was a good day overall. Really
Was.
enjoyed it. Good vibes. Went to the pub afterwards with, I think there was like 15 or something of us.
Yeah.
And had some drinks, had some food. It was just good all round.
It was very good. It was very good.
I was very blown away though, and a bit overwhelmed by the messages I got when I uploaded about getting my belt.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Just like everyone had like over like 60 people messaging me through comments or DMs, WhatsApp and stuff like that, just sharing the love and just showing love, and I really appreciated it, especially past few months and that. It really meant a lot to me, I think. But yeah, it was a good day.
It was.
Love it.
So I think with you getting promoted,
Yep.
it's probably a good time to roll into. We wanted to do like how we've both got into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So considering you got promoted and that you're now a brown belt, I think this week we should just discuss how you got into jiu-jitsu and what made you start jiu-jitsu, and well, we'll have another few questions on the way. I don't know if we got any questions from.
We do have one question that wasn't mentioned previously because for some reason the DMs on their account were frozen, so you couldn't just direct message.
Okay.
It wouldn't come through.
Yeah. Let's do that first then, and then we'll get into your story.
It's a pretty good one. I think it's a good one for you to answer.
Oh dear.
Let's have a look. I think I screenshotted it. So
Everyone, make sure you keep asking us questions on the social medias, or however you're listening. You can comment underneath. We will try and check and answer as many questions. It's quite interesting and a good part of the podcast, I think, to answer other people's questions.
So, question is, can you talk about what advice you'd have for someone getting back into jiu-jitsu after a long time off, and how you think it might differ for women from men?
Interesting. Yeah, that probably is a good one for me to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you dipped in and then dipped out.
Yeah, quite a lot. Yeah. I went long periods of time as well, like 2, 3, 4 years between training as well. But it's probably harder to. So it's very hard to step on the mats for the first time and join a gym, yeah? But I think me and Sam always have. Well, we used to have a bit of a conversation about this when I was sort of like coming back, and he used to say to me, it's harder to return. It's definitely harder to return because, especially if you're going back to the same gym that you originally trained at, people have got a lot better, and you just know that you're going to be like.
You feel like you've gone backwards.
You feel like you've gone backwards, but you haven't. Everyone has stuff that happens in their lives, and people take time off, like injuries or like people have children or whatever. You know, people will have to have time off over their journey. But yeah, just do it. Treat it like it's your first day again, and just literally get on them mats, and then you'll soon like get back into the routine.
I think that's the hardest thing, is just getting to the
Yeah.
mats, because your mind's just
Yeah,
constantly
yeah.
you're battling with the thoughts
Yeah.
of, should I do it, should I not?
Mhm.
It's easier just to say no and just like stay at home.
When I came back to Newbury, I've been back for probably a few years now,
Yeah.
couple of years now, or something like that. But when I first came back, I came to the car park once, like had a panic attack pretty much, and just left and went home.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. And then I came back again, like a couple of days later or something, and I remember Sam Chesel was just walking across, like his big smiley
Saw you.
face, and he saw me and he was like, come on then, and I was like, well, that's
Have to
it
now.
now.
Yeah.
But if you know someone that you're like, if you know someone at the gym as well that you're going to
Yeah.
go and train with, just send them a message and just be like, oh, I'm thinking of coming back. Like, oh,
Can I meet you before?
can I meet you outside and we'll just walk in together? Like, most people are going to understand and
Yeah.
be like, yeah, fair enough, that's fine. Like, not.
I think that's a good way of coming back, is if you know someone there and you're really good friends with, or a partner that does train, just say like, oh, I'm thinking about getting back into
Yeah.
it. Can I come along with you? Or just, you don't even need to say it. Just say, oh, do you want to meet up and
Yeah,
go train?
that's it.
But going with someone, it sort of makes you kind of have to
Definitely.
go in.
Like having a bit of a conversation in the car park and just walking
Yeah.
in, like taking the edge off of it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Makes you not
otherwise-
think about the big thing of stepping on those
stepping
mats
back,
again.
Yeah, especially you say, and I completely understand. It is hard training somewhere, then coming back, having time off, then coming back again, and it is.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like the great example is when I first started training at Newbury the first time round. You were a white belt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And now you're a brown belt, and I'm a blue belt. So
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean? It's very like, and that's the thing. People get away from you, but
Mm.
everyone's journey's different, and everyone's life's on a
Exactly.
different course. So
And that's where we're going to find out, talking about how I got into it and what kept me going and things I've been through that kept me coming back. And same with you. And hopefully down the line we'll get people on and they'll be able to discuss
that's it.
why they do it.
What was the second part of that question? Was there something about
It was how it differs between women and men as
for
well.
coming back
I
after
believe so.
just
Which I think is a bit more difficult for us to answer
yeah?
from a woman's point of view, just because neither of us are
But
women,
this
as far as I'm aware.
the same thing I would say is that if you're coming back and you know someone, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like we can only really talk for our gym, like Newbury. Newbury's so accepting
Yeah.
that I don't think anyone should have a fear of walking into the gym in Newbury,
No.
and like everyone will welcome you in,
Yeah, it's
100%.
Adam hadn't been there. Adam Doyle.
Yeah,
He hadn't trained in, must have been like a year and a half.
yeah,
And he just popped his head in.
and everyone's like, yeah,
Yeah,
Adam.
straight away, just
Yeah,
chatting,
that's
having a
it.
good time, catching up, asking how he's been doing, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's good.
I don't think it's probably more of a big deal for the person that wants to come back than it is for the people that are at the gym.
Yeah.
Like most people,
Everyone's always happy to see you.
yeah,
again.
when they come back, everyone will just be like, "You've never left." It'll be
Yeah.
like, "Yo," like so. Yeah, I wouldn't worry. Say we can't make too much. I don't.
Probably picking the right class to come back on.
Yeah,
Coming just straight back to an open mat might be a bit different to coming back to like a Monday where it's like the main class, lots of people, and just doing techniques where it's a bit more relaxed. I
yeah,
think, makes a difference.
yeah, 100%. But yeah, don't think there's any like. It's just getting over that mental block of doing it.
Yeah.
Like it really doesn't matter to anyone in the gym.
No.
You just get in there.
It's just your mind.
It is,
playing with you.
yeah, and I've been there, so
Yeah.
100%.
No one's going to look at you and think, oh, they're coming back.
Most people will praise you.
Yeah.
Most people will be like, "Oh, fair play for coming back."
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Because it's a big thing to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Stepping back in, knowing everyone else around you have progressed and you've sort of stayed where
Yeah.
you last were. It is a big deal.
But it
and
doesn't. But that doesn't matter.
No.
Everyone is on their own individual journey,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And
Like
that's the
no
beauty of it.
one cares.
No one's the same.
Yeah.
No one, the way he rolls, not the same as someone else. Like, you can choose so many different techniques, or the ways you do it, or the way you train, and how committed you are. Like, there's no similarity. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a game.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
That's it.
But
So hopefully we've answered that. Basically, just get in there, just get it done.
just get over that mental block.
Yeah, and if you're little few things for like if you're worried about, because it's a high cardio exercise. So if you're like building up to it, like I don't know, just go for a couple of runs, like just try and build yourself up, get a bit of cardio and stuff back again, so that you're not turning up and you're like absolutely dying.
Yeah,
get a bit of cardio.
but that also helps as well, as we'll talk a little bit through my story. But yeah, just getting over that mental block, that's the
100%.
hardest thing.
Yeah. So let's go. Big John Morgan story.
So I started, the way I found jiu-jitsu was both my brothers and a couple of close friends from where I grew up were doing a charity ultra MMA event.
Yeah.
At the time, I was weighing about 120 kg, maybe a little bit more. I never weighed myself right at the start. I'm not sure what that is in stone, but it was a lot. And they started training. My oldest brother at the time, had already been training jiu-jitsu for about a month and a half, 2 months, I think.
At Newbury?
Yeah. And they decided to rent the village hall in our village, and he was going to show them a couple of techniques to help them with their fights.
Yeah.
And so I went along to watch it, got a couple of saw it, and it took my eye a little bit. I was like, this looks interesting.
Yeah.
My brother always said, if you're going to try something, probably do like sumo or wrestling. Just because I was really big, and I think he just thought that would be something that I'd enjoy more. But something about the jiu-jitsu was just like, I like the look of this for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's taken my eye. Oh, right, I'm back.
Sorry, small little interruption there.
Yeah, had a customer come in, unfortunately, mid of conversation. But yeah, as I was saying,
so Sam had rented the village hall.
Yeah, and the jiu-jitsu took my eye, and from that, I continued to watch them practice jiu-jitsu.
But you weren't getting involved at this point. You were just watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what year was this, do you think?
2018.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
And then it came to the day of the fight, and I watched both my brothers use jiu-jitsu and saw how effective it was against people who didn't train.
So both of them used jiu-jitsu in their fights, in their ultra white collar or whatever it is, and they won. Yeah. Both using jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So had both your brothers been training at Newbury at this point, or was it just Sam?
Sam was. Simon dipped in for one class, but wasn't a member. It was just my older brother, and I think Ashley had started at that point as well.
Okay.
From that, watching them fight, I met Sam and a guy called Ryan at the event, who are both members of Newbury, and got talking to them. Felt really comfortable with them, and I drove them home, and they were just like, "Oh, you've got to just come try it. You'll enjoy it," and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So the next day, I think it was the next day, I spoke to my brother and was like, "I want to give it a go." He lent me one of his gis, and
did it fit?
Don't think so. I was way too big for it.
Yeah.
But he came down with me because I wasn't comfortable just walking into something like that. I've never done martial arts, never got into fighting, never been interested in fighting. I'm someone who doesn't like hurting people, which is weird to say because 5-6 times a week, it's what
you smother me.
Yeah. And I enjoy it, but I don't like hurting people, whether it's mentally or physically. I just don't like it. It upsets. I get upset by doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turned up with my brother, and for I can't remember. It must have been about 20 minutes into the class, maybe even 5 minutes. I was knackered.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was going to pass out. I had to go outside because I thought I was going to be sick. Just trying to do the warm-up, and I was just like, this is insane.
It's good for you don't have to do the warm-up anymore.
No. But then we started getting to do the jiu-jitsu, and I absolutely loved it, and I got hooked, and I was just like, I need to get fit to do this. I need to stay committed to like training because like the actual jiu-jitsu side of things was so much fun. So I kept pushing it. I started like cycling a little bit at work with one of my friends who was 2 units down. He started going for cycles with me on the common at lunchtime, and just started getting fit and getting into it. About roughly, I think it was about 7 months into training, I did my first competition.
Yeah. So you're white belt at this point, obviously. Yeah.
And lost in the gi.
Yeah.
Got destroyed. One guy just literally sat on top of me and did nothing.
Oh, yeah. It's not very nice, is
It
it?
was the first time I've had a man's nipple in my mouth, I can tell you that, because you're not allowed to wear rash guards in the gi. And I was disheartened, but because I signed up the no gi as well, I was like, this is my time for redemption. I must try. Like, it's my last fight of the day.
So up to this point, how much had you been training? So this is your first 7 months.
Yeah.
What was like?
I was hooked. I was training every single session available at Newbury.
Right.
Like, back then there wasn't that many available, but I was training, must have been at least 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
And I think at that point I also sort of dipped into going down to Basingstoke occasionally just to get extra session here and there.
Yep.
And yeah, went and did the no-gi, managed to get gold.
Yeah.
Beat the guy who just sat on me for the no-gi.
That's interesting.
Which I was really happy with. Somehow I managed to get 2 golds for one event. I'm not going to complain. But I think that one I end up giving to Bernie.
Yeah.
I put a little message on it or something on the back and just gave it to him.
Nice.
As a spare one. And then met Yuki for the first time a couple months later.
Yeah. So he came over.
Came over for a seminar from
at Newbury, or was this somewhere else?
Newbury, I believe. And that was interesting because didn't have a clue who he was at first.
Yeah.
And then someone mentioned a little documentary movie called Choke.
Yes.
Which I watched and I was like, this dude is insane.
Yeah.
Like, got blinded in one eye in
Yeah.
his first fight and then carried on to go to the final.
Yeah.
And fought Hickson Gracie.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, this dude is an absolute warrior. He's a legend. And
He's crazy. Like his belt gets me every time. It's like a piece of string.
Yeah, it's pretty much gone back to a white belt at this point.
Yeah,
it's so torn. But meeting someone like that, never really knew anything about martial arts or anything, and then to dive into this martial art and meet a legend like that, I was just like, it feels surreal. And it was a good time. Met a lot of people through that.
Interestingly, he's coming back again, isn't he, in November?
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
That'll be a good time.
We normally see him once or twice a year, don't we?
Yeah.
So, because Yuki is like Parestra, and then so he. Oh, I don't really know how it works, but is he like head of Parestra?
So I believe he's head of Parestra, and then Jeff's head of
Parestra UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jeff's under Yuki.
Yes.
From that went to Kleos, which was an event ran by Daniel Strauss.
Yeah.
I was in Cornwall, I think for holiday. Got back the same day or maybe the day before.
Mm-hmm.
I was training on holiday.
Really?
Like,
in a gym or just?
Oh, just on the grass outside the caravan. Like, that's how much I got into jiu-jitsu. Like, it was like a life to me. And I was just like practicing on the floor with my brother because it was like a family holiday. And this was my younger brother. My older one never really went on holiday with us. But, yeah, just practicing on the floor. Went for a couple of jogs and stuff. Just stayed active.
Yeah.
Kept losing weight as well. That was one of the things. I'd never joined jiu-jitsu to lose weight. It just happened from doing it.
Yeah. What was this competition?
Kleos.
And where was that?
I can't remember whereabouts it was.
Right.
But that I lost. I think it was the first fight.
Yeah.
And again, it always seems to be the first fight where I do my worst.
Same. Yeah.
And after that, the second fight, I end up smashing it. Won like 17-0.
Nice.
But got a sub.
Yeah.
So I managed to get silver on that one.
Do you remember the sub?
No.
No.
Not at all. It might have been like a rear naked choke or something.
Yeah, nice.
Just sunk it in.
So you're still white belt at this point?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then after that, someone really close to me on the business park, I saw every day. The whole time I've been up here, he passed away just before the next comp, and that hit me quite hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time I dealt with someone passing, really, someone that close.
Yeah.
Like going from seeing this person every single day and socialising with him to then him not being there. It affected me quite a bit, and I knew I had to keep training because it was one of those things just allowed me to focus on something else.
Keep
and
you mentally...
trying to keep me strong and not go into a deep hole. And after that, I had another comp, which I ended up doing, I think it was about 3 days after him passing, or his funeral, I can't remember which one it was. But went there, got silver after 3 hard-fought fights.
Yeah.
And...
Is that in the gi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I just used so much energy and exhausted myself. I'm pretty sure from what I can remember back then, I just broke down again.
Yeah.
Like, because it was so soon after. It was difficult, but managed to sort of get through it and continue. That was my last competition at white belt, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, getting silver.
So how long have you been training up to this point, do you think?
Coming up to just under a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then about a month after that competition, I got my blue belt.
Mm-hmm. When was that? Do you know roughly?
Funny enough, it was a day before lockdown.
Right.
Or the last session before lockdown.
Yeah.
So got my blue belt, and then we all got put into lockdown.
Yeah.
And just everything disappeared.
So you got to do the typical blue belt thing of getting your blue belt and then disappearing. But you just... Almost.
Close. But with the lockdown, work was difficult. I couldn't work as much, like a lot of people. But me and my brother lived together, so we were still able to train.
Yeah.
We trained in the garden. We had mats down, and we just did positional sparring and drilling. And it was probably one of the times where I made the most progress.
Yeah.
In my journey. And it just was so effective for us because we weren't thinking about just rolling. We were just thinking about learning guard passing and guard retention.
Yeah.
And for him, for sure, his guard retention through that time, it just was insane. Like,
yeah.
It's very difficult to pass now.
And you would account that to that time that you guys put in
100%.
over lockdown.
Completely agree with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all we did. But that was all we really did, to be honest, through lockdown.
During lockdown, yeah.
Constantly with the club, we were getting to like group calls, doing little quizzes and stuff like that, just to stay connected with each other. And then after that, we got into the social distancing, where I think you were allowed to meet up with one other person for like an hour for exercise.
Yes.
Which me and good friend Sam, not my brother Sam, but guy who trains at jiu-jitsu, we started going for jogs on the common.
Yeah. Sorry, we got interrupted again.
The amount of people that turned up at my work today is just insane.
But so we're in lockdown technically, yep. But you're still able to. So you're now able to go and meet
social
up.
Distancing.
So you were meeting up with Chesil.
Yeah, we started going for jogs on the common, which I think the furthest we got was about 9 miles.
Yeah.
And at that point, we were just like, our knees are not as they used to be, and they are not enjoying this. So we soon switched that to going for cycle, go for bike rides. And then we started doing a bit of photography as well. And I think around that time is when me and Sam really made a bond.
Yeah.
Got quite close. And it was good. Going out, doing some photography with a friend, getting some exercise, and just being outside after all that time of being locked away.
Yeah.
It was good. But then the club started opening up where we could do a bit of circuit training. We were in squares, so we couldn't be next to each other or anything.
Right, got you, yeah.
We were in our own little boxes, did like kettlebells and stuff like that, just so we could be close, but like feel like we're doing something again.
But you couldn't spar,
no,
you couldn't...
No training whatsoever.
Yeah.
Which was difficult. There was, I think, people started forming bubbles at one point, it's hard to try and remember exactly what went on because it feels like a
that
dream.
feels like a long time ago, doesn't it?
At that point, I think I started picking up a bit of MMA, doing a little bit of MMA with Harry, because we formed a little bubble at my work, me, Harry, my brother, and a guy called French Chris. And I started doing some privates with him. And it was good. Never really got into punching people, don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, for whatever reason, I don't really enjoy it. I don't like punching people.
Yeah.
So that didn't last too long. And around that time, I started training with Sean at his garage as well.
Yeah.
That was a big time. He started getting some mats down in his garage. So we started regularly training there. Which
and
is
this is all during
this is as
like the COVID. Yeah. So you're coming out of COVID now.
Yeah.
Or the lockdowns.
So I'm allowed to be able to do things.
Yeah. And when did Newbury reopen?
I think about this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where it came to the point where we were allowed to train again. It gets a bit foggy because I'm trying to remember it through like some of the posts that I put up on Instagram.
Right. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember exactly what happened when. But at this point, Newbury was back open. I started getting some regular training in, and also training with my mate Sean. Which at this point, around this time, I went through a breakup, which...
Was this a long-term...
Yeah, I was with her for about 6 years.
Right.
That was a mess. It felt like an episode of EastEnders.
Right,
like,
yeah.
I don't like drama. Never been one for drama. And suddenly everything sort of caved in on me.
Yeah.
Everything I knew just disappeared. And I dived into training. At this point, I still didn't know really what was going on. She just sort of upped and left.
Were you living with?
Yeah, we were living together, but
Right.
at the time I thought we were saving to get a place.
Yeah.
Like she had control of everything. I just allowed her to manage my life almost. Which one thing I feel like I'm good at is learning from my mistakes.
Right. Yeah.
And learning from things that have happened. I don't let it happen again.
Yeah.
And try and learn from it. So that's one thing I learned is don't let someone else control your money and your life pretty much. But yeah, that was a difficult time. I didn't really know what had happened until I started managing my accounts again. Found in my bank account a transaction for a baby scan, which then I found out she was pregnant. And yeah, it was a mental time. But
but you should probably add that. Well, I don't know. You don't have to put this in the podcast. You could edit it out. But obviously, it wasn't your.
No, it wasn't my kid. No.
It wasn't your baby. No.
It was a shock to see like this transaction coming out of my account. I was just like, "What the hell is this?" I was sat here with one of my customers, who's a really good friend of mine, and he was helping me through this time. And I just saw it. I was like, "What the is this?" Like, and then confronted her about it, and she said, "Yeah, it is true. It's not yours," and stuff like that. And I was just like, "What the hell is happening with my life?"
Yeah.
The one thing though, I knew I needed to do was to stay focused and not let this be something that brought me down.
Yeah.
And I don't know how or why, but I managed to get through that time pretty well. I had a little while of being a bit down, obviously, but I just dived into training.
Do you think jiu-jitsu helped you through then?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Just the mental side of it.
Yeah. Like, if this stuff had happened before I had done jiu-jitsu, I don't think there's a good chance, like obviously you can never say for sure, but there's a good chance I probably wouldn't be here now.
Yeah.
Just because I was so lost and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But at that point, I just started diving into training. I was training like 11 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing as much as I could to stay active.
Yeah.
Neglected a lot of things in my life. Just drove straight into training. Wasn't working as much, even though I needed the money.
Yeah.
Because I had nothing. Like, I thought I had saved loads of money. There was actually nothing there.
Yeah.
dove into the training. So I set myself a goal to have a certain amount of money by the end of the year, and I managed to do it, which I'm really proud of myself, to be able to go through a lockdown, keep a business, and then find I had no money, which could be partially down to the lockdown. I'll never know.
Yeah.
But then come out of it with, like, telling myself I'm going to have this money by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And being able to do that.
Yeah, nice.
I was proud of myself for that.
Yeah.
But obviously, breakups, stuff like that, things affect you. You have trust issues and stuff.
Yeah.
Which definitely affected me. At this point, I was training so much. The only thing that kept me going was training. I had friends there. I not rely on them, but I knew that community would keep me going and keep me focused. So, like, it was such a big thing having jiu-jitsu in my life. And some of my close friends, they were just like, I don't understand how you've managed to stay so cool through this.
But you think it was down to jiu-jitsu and training?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, having those people at the club, my friends there,
just so it wasn't a lonely time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like I was part of something.
Yeah.
And the love that you get from jiu-jitsu, the banter, the exercise, like, all of it as a whole just was the thing that just kept me going.
Yeah.
Now at this point, like, I was a blue belt as well, still learning a lot and just loving training and just being around those people.
So how long have you been a blue belt for at this time?
Well, it would have been over a year because of lockdown.
Yeah.
If you count, well, I'm going to count lockdown as part of my belt because I was training for it.
Yeah, if you were still training, then yeah, of course, yeah.
So, yeah, got through all that. Probably made a mistake jumping into a relationship again, like a couple months later.
Right.
After the breakup, like, I think because I was so focused on the training and stuff, I felt like my mind was okay.
Yeah.
I blocked out everything that had happened. Met someone through friends, and I royally messed that one up.
Fair enough.
It happens. And it was just way too soon. But don't need to go into that. But yeah, I started covering Sam's classes.
Was it?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So at this point,
After Sam and Catherine's wedding.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that, it was the first wedding I've ever been invited to. I was a groomsman for Sam and Catherine's, which I was really proud and chuffed to be part of.
Yeah.
And be involved with. Fantastic wedding. Absolutely loved it. I think it was the first wedding that was like allowed after lockdown. Like,
yeah, okay.
they were very lucky and they didn't have to have theirs pushed back or anything.
Yeah.
Beautiful wedding. Love those two. They've done a lot for me. But yeah, started covering Sam's classes, which was interesting. I was a blue belt at the time covering.
Yeah.
I was a little bit nervous about it.
Yeah.
Especially sometimes having people higher level than you in. Felt weird. Teaching people, not necessarily teaching them, but just teaching a class jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But it gave me a good starting point.
Yeah.
Just covering a couple of classes here and there. It wasn't.
Were you already doing your Friday mornings?
No, this wasn't when I was regularly covering Sam's classes. It was just occasionally, like, I think he was on his honeymoon,
Right.
so like I was covering for him.
Yeah.
And then what happened? I think at this point, I can't remember if I went to Snowdon before, but one of the worst times I can remember through my jiu-jitsu time was having to have my dog put down.
Yeah.
I didn't have him very long. I loved that dog to pieces. I'd do anything for him. Anywhere I go, he would be with me. But he got to the point where he couldn't walk, he wouldn't eat, and I just had to do the right thing and having him put down, which sometimes I think, was it wrong to do it? Or, like, but then I tell myself it was the right thing to do because he was old.
Yeah.
He couldn't eat. He wouldn't walk. It was just the right thing to do.
You have to just reach a point, don't you, where
Yeah.
you know they're there.
And that was a really dark time for me, because at that point I was single again, just lost my dog, and I just felt completely alone with my work as well. Like, I'm up here by myself, and just didn't have my dog anymore. It was just pretty dark. Didn't enjoy it. Tried to stay busy, like training with Sean, seeing Sam going to like Seven Bone and stuff like that. But yeah,
Tough times.
yeah. It doesn't seem a lot, because obviously it's, to some people, oh, it's just a dog or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I think anyone that's had a dog or has a dog knows, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, obviously I had dogs growing up, and I had them for like 14 years as a kid, and you sort of see them slowly deteriorating, and you kind of expect it. But because I had this dog only for about 3 years, but he was like 14 when he passed, it still felt very new.
Yeah.
So again, I'm always trying to find a way to try and pull myself out of these dark spots, but my mind tends to pull me back in.
Yeah.
And again, the one thing that got me through this was training jiu-jitsu, like getting back into the club, seeing people. I may not be talking so much there, or I might be quite quiet, but just making sure I turn up and train just kept me sane, I think. And just seeing the people there, them pulling me through, it just kept me going.
Yeah.
And I think I dived again this time, and I probably should have seen someone to talk to.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes that's not always the recommended thing to do, but some people just have that coping mechanism of, jiu-jitsu, when you're training, you don't think of anything else. It's you're so immersed, your brain goes blank, and you sort of, it does help you through, because you're not thinking of all these bad things. But it's probably not for most people. Obviously, if you get into times like that, you should really go and ask for help, or at least speak to your mates or something. But obviously, for some people, it helps. It definitely helps people get through.
From that, I got down to below 80 kg. So through jiu-jitsu, I ended up losing around about 40 kg, which it was just like lifting 40 kg up and just thinking,
that
I
used to be attached to you, yeah.
I used to carry this around. No wonder I was always so tired and lazy and just like doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to be tired carrying that much weight around. And it became a unhealthy obsession at that point. It just started to become unhealthy, and I couldn't maintain it. Which later on I started balancing out at about 85, 86.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was most comfortable weight-wise. And I stayed that for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
I ended up going into, that was a sub-only championship, which was an interesting competition.
Yeah, so you're still blue belt?
Yeah, still blue belt. Went to a competition which pretty much every submission was allowed.
Yeah. 2
days before the comp, I was training with Sean and Ashley, and I blew my knee out. There's a good video, well, I'd say it's a good video. You can see us training, you can hear music in the background, and it just sounds like a carrot snapping. And there goes my knee.
Yeah.
I was so afraid to tell Bernie, because it's like every time I seem to try have a competition coming up, I end up injuring myself. And I remember going to class, seeing him try to walk normally but struggled, and he looked at me and was just like, "What's wrong?"
Yeah.
And it's like, I blew my knee out, and he was just looked at me like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
And me, him, and Sam drove up there, and we got a hotel for the night, because I think it was like Birmingham, so it was just like, it's just easier, let's just all get a hotel.
Is this the one where Sam forgot all of his kit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow he has a competition and he forgets to take his kit with him. So I think he had a bit of my kit and a bit of Ashley's. And I ended up putting a knee brace on, putting some, like, is it called KT tape? Like, it's meant to help relieve some of the pressure in. I'm not really sure what it does.
I don't know what it's called, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's meant to help. Well, I think it does, like people say it does, so I decided to put that on as well. And then I think I took some cocodamol as well.
Yeah.
So I just did as much as I could, just so I wouldn't feel any of the pain in my knee, because I couldn't even put any weight down on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, got on the mats. The no-gi, I feel like I did okay. I won my first fight, which I can't remember if I won by points or submission, but I know I didn't end up medaling in the no gi.
Right, yeah.
Went into the gi, and the first fight, I think I just sort of smothered the dude in mount until until then I got like an Ezekiel finish, which was nice. But then I went up against a guy called Ethan, who just annihilated me.
Oh, really? Yeah. Go on.
And I think that's the only time I've versed him. But at this point, like, the people who had just beaten me were just called Ethan. And I was like, is it just a problem I have?
I might change my name to Ethan.
Yeah. But it was a good day.
Do you know, you joke about that, right? But when you get beaten by someone called Ethan, right, you probably put like a mental block in your head. So then when someone else comes up and it's like, oh yeah, I'm against Ethan today, you were probably like, oh no, oh shit, I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
And it put such a mental block that you probably did lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both the Ethans that have beaten me, so that one, and there was another one, they were both just savages. And it's like, one of them I know is like 17 or 18, and all he does is train. And he like popped my ankle at one competition. And that might be the competition I'm about to go into at some point. But yeah, that was a good time. We both went down there. Sam hadn't competed in God knows how long either. In the time that I'd known him, he hadn't competed. So that was his first time.
How did he do?
He, I believe, from what I can remember, lost the first one, but then won the second.
Nice.
But I don't think he got subbed.
Yeah.
In the one that he lost.
Nice.
From what I can remember. And I think my brother and Ashley went down, but I can't remember. I think it was only Ashley who competed.
Right.
But they just drove down. They didn't stay down there. It ended up being a good day overall. A good day out with the coach and Sam.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, close to the second to last competition, I think, at Blue. I believe. I
don't know.
I don't know why I'm looking at you, like, looking for answers, but...
I don't have a track record of your history.
Well, I believe after that one is when I started teaching my Friday mornings.
Yeah.
Around that time. To start off with, I was quite nervous about it, just because I was a blue belt. I really wanted to teach, and I thought, like, I'd enjoy it, which I did, but getting used to it and sort of everyone looking at you, looking at you as the... Like, I was used to sitting around in the circle and watching the techniques. Now suddenly I'm sat there thinking, when's Bernie going to turn up? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's me.
Yeah.
But no, it took a while to get used to teaching.
I think it would for anyone though.
Yeah. But I really enjoy it. And occasionally when you'd have like a higher belt come in, I was just a bit like,
yeah.
Should I, like, do you want to take the class?
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
It just feels strange, like, teaching someone who's a higher rank than you. But back then, it was mainly just doing drills and getting people to just do, like, positional sparring. I wasn't really showing much in technique-wise. But from that, I ended up getting sponsored.
Yes.
At that point.
Which is quite impressive, really.
Yeah. I was really chuffed with that.
Use code JAM10.
Yeah, with Battle Soap.
Yeah.
It should still exist.
Probably not sponsored anymore.
Yeah, I haven't competed in a while, but no. I've met the guy who runs it quite a few times. Good guy.
Yeah, friend. He did a open mat at Newbury, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was really good.
And you also came to the one in Andy Roberts'
Oh,
gym.
yeah. I did. Yeah. I forgot that was a Battle Soap one. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was like a good couple hours as well.
Yeah, it was. We went down. I think it was a Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a good turnout. And that all came from, I think, from Bernie originally.
What, organising it?
Yeah, not the open mat, but...
Yeah, the sponsorship.
Yeah. And I think at that point I was just like, I'm going to need to start competing a bit more, like put some more effort into my actual training.
Yeah.
But, yeah, being sponsored, I rinsed Ashley with that because... Being out of white belt, we constantly were like battling with each other, being like, "Oh, who's gonna try and get someone sponsored first and stuff like that." And then once I got it, it was just like.
And this was at blue belt.
Yeah, blue belt.
That's quite cool. That's cool. Yeah.
After that, competed at Bournemouth.
I think I was gonna say I think I went to this one with you, but I didn't, did I? You were purple belt when I first went to the first comp with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that would have been the.
That was in Bournemouth.
That was the super fight one, wasn't it?
No.
Was it not?
We did one before that. Was it a neon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Neon.
but you were
Yeah.
purple belt, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a bit later on.
Yeah.
But no, this was probably one of my favourite competitions at Blue Belt. There was only 2 fights, but the first one, it's always the first fight where I'm worse because I never really warm up. I'm always just sat on the side having a nap or something because I've got this like big boost of like nerves and everything turning up, and then suddenly I just get really tired and it's just like I'll put some music on and I'll just sit in the corner and go to sleep or just chill.
Yeah.
So my warm-ups are usually my first roll, so it's lucky if either I win or I lose. If I lose, then it's done, but if I win, then I'm sort of set and ready to go into the next fights.
Yeah.
So the first fight sort of went on for a while, but I ended up on the guy's back and started working my assassin's choke, taking my lapel out, feeding it over the neck, and then getting the forearm behind the head.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
People don't see it coming because you sneak it in by the neck and they think you're looking to go for guillotine, but actually you've got your lapel underneath you.
Where you've taught that though in Newbury, like everyone, when you've got someone's back and you sort of like say you've got a seatbelt and then like they'll feel you take one arm away and like start fiddling around down here, down to your right sort of thing or your left, whatever, and they're like, everyone now knows because you've taught it. Everyone's like,
everyone's aware.
No.
Something's going.
It's hard to stop it because you get. I remember you showed me, and it was like you only get a little bit of the material in your palm. You don't like poke it through, so there's a bit hanging out. You just put a little bit in, and
just
then
hide it.
Drive your fist through. So all you've got to do is get your fist through, which is what most people do for a rear naked anyway. Like if you're defending really well, so you sort of like what would you call that? You sort of like corkscrew your hand through.
I tend to feed it straight to the underhook hand.
Yeah.
So then it's pretty much, then I've got a seatbelt.
Yeah, with the lapel.
Yeah, and then I can take my arm away and I can either put that on the other side of the head and drive the head away, or I can throw my leg over.
But the beauty with it is that you don't have to get under their neck with it.
No.
You can, as long as you can get it in front of their face.
It's so thin. Like
you can normally, like, if you pull it back enough, it will just go under their
And that's
neck.
why I think of it like a knife through butter. If you try to put a spoon through, like, you think of your arm, it's a lot thicker than
that's it. Yeah, how thick
lapel.
your arm is compared to the lapel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much easier to get under.
I remember the first time you got me with it, I was like, "What is this wizardry?"
It's one of my favourite techniques, just because it's so sneaky and people don't expect it half the time.
Yeah.
I still use it today. Anytime I'm on the back in the gi, I'll look for a reason to put that in there. But yeah, ended up getting that, finishing that fight. Going on to the final, I was like getting pumped. I was like smacking my legs and that, getting ready to go on the mat. Went on there and I pulled guard into like collar and sleeve.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't wrestle?
No. Back then I didn't like, I was terrible at wrestling. Still am today, but
Same.
Yeah, that ended up pulling guard, going to single leg X and then straight footlock in I think about a minute and a half or something.
Yeah, nice.
So that's why I loved that comp, just because I got it done out the way and I sort of set the tone for the rest of the competition for the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And
Did you get, so was that double gold or was that two matches in the gi?
Just 2 matches in the gi.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do the no gi that day.
Yeah.
But I believe by the end of the day, Perestra won the adult medal and the children's medal.
Do I think this is the one where, am I right? Is this the one where Sean competed first time at Blue Belt and just like cleaned up?
Potentially.
I think so.
Yeah. Or it might be another one. I can't remember.
I know the comp you're on about, but yeah. Did he?
I think so. I can't remember if that was when he was a white belt or not.
No, I don't know.
At some point, Sean did like one and done. So he just did one comp and he just smashed it and then hasn't competed
He's like,
again.
I don't need to compete again.
Yeah, that's all I need to do. But no, that competition was really good fun. And then the last comp I did at Blue, preparation probably could have been better. I weighed in, and then afterwards I stood with everyone and I had 2 chicken tikka slices.
Oh, you've told me about this. Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know why. I think it was just because I hadn't eaten a lot.
It always reminds me of that, and the story. The other one is when you said did you eat like a load of cream eggs on the way to training once, or chocolate,
think so, something like that,
and made yourself sick.
Yeah. And there was a time someone, I think it was when my brother got his blue belt. Yeah, it would have been his blue belt. We went to take a photo, and I said to, I think it was Ben and Sam at the time, I just said to him, I was just like, oh, I'm not feeling great. And then next thing I know, I'm on the floor and everyone's around me. I didn't drink enough water. I got dehydrated and just passed out during the photo. But as soon as I came round, I just said to them, I was just like, did you get the photo? And they were just like, John, you passed out. I was just like, oh no. So ever since then, Catherine's always said to me, have you drunk enough water?
Yeah.
Have you taken any waters to train in, John?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's a good little joke we've got, me passing out.
The only time I've ever seen you passed out was when you got choked out.
That's another good story.
Yeah, that is.
That was, we'll mention that later on.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly when it happened, but it was when I was a purple.
Yeah.
With a white belt.
It was, yeah.
At the time.
It was funny.
Not the best start. Having 2 chicken tikka slices before your first fight.
Didn't get you going, no?
No.
Good fuel, good fight
surprisingly, it didn't. I did alright in the no-gi, though. I nearly broke someone's arm. They tapped right last minute. And he ended up having ice and stuff, so hopefully he's fine. But
it's a bit late now to ask him.
Yeah. I'm sure he's alright now.
Yeah.
But this is where, in the gi, I made a bad mistake. I told everyone I'm going to go for flying armbar, like foot on the hip, go armbar.
I like them.
Yeah, it's nice when it happens,
Yeah.
but when you go to put your foot on the hip and you slip and you like just smack your hip,
just let them go to side control.
pretty much. Yeah. There's a good video on my Instagram. It's had like 1,700 likes at this point.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, I just slip up, fall onto my ass.
I think we should post that on the Juge Idiots Instagram.
I'll get that up on there. Or I'll put it on the story or something, sharing it. Yeah, slip on my ass. And he just passes straight into side control. I think I end up going to turtle. He just jumps on my back and bow and arrow chokes me straight away. And it's like, well, there we go.
Yeah. Was he called Ethan?
No.
Oh.
He wasn't that time.
So the curse is...
That wasn't Ethan that time round.
Yeah.
But after that, that was my last competition at Blue Belt. And it ended up getting seen by so many people, me just slipping up.
Yeah.
It was like success.
How did that sponsorship go?
He probably wasn't too impressed with it, but
Yeah.
we can ask him because he wants to come on the podcast.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So that would be cool.
Yeah, he has to sponsor me first.
Yeah. Yeah, then after that, I ended up getting my purple belt with Ben, which was nice.
Yeah,
Ashley had changed club at that point. So, and he went through some stuff which, if he comes on the podcast, we can talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not my place to say. Yeah, got my purple belt. It was a really good time. Can't remember exactly how many people were there for that, but
I wasn't there.
was you not?
No.
You weren't training at that point then?
Well, when would this have been? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
I'm really bad at remembering dates.
I'm getting distracted because Sam Chesel's just texted me or messaged me, and then I sent him a photo of you, and he just said, "Am I live?" So we can give him a little shout out. He is live. You're live and on the mic, Sam.
But yeah, got my purple belt, as I just said. Enjoyed it, and I think purple belt so far through all of them has been my favourite belt to have.
Yeah.
Just because
most people say blue.
For me, I felt like, I don't know. I felt like I was, probably wasn't, but I definitely felt like I was under a bit of pressure.
Yeah. Okay.
Getting sponsored, getting put in a position to be like the competition coach.
Yeah.
And all these different things while trying to also manage a business. Like, I just felt quite a bit of pressure, and it's like I felt like I needed to perform.
Yeah.
Whereas purple, I was a little bit more laid back. Didn't train as hard. Still absolutely loved it. Did as many classes as I could right off the bat at purple.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I think it's just you're at a point where you know enough to sort of take it easy.
I was just saying, do you feel like your jiu-jitsu sort of like came together then?
Yeah.
And so you could actually enjoy it?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Like, I felt like the whole time I'd been chasing something, but I wasn't really sure what I was chasing. And then once I got to purple,
you sort of like can take your foot off the gas a little bit and
sort of realised that's where what I was chasing for. It's just this sort of point where I feel like I can be comfortable. I don't have to use loads of energy or anything like that. I've got enough to get me by rolls, and I can relax and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not to say I didn't enjoy blue belt or white belt, but purple so far has been my favourite belt.
Yeah.
And at that point, I jumped straight into a competition, I think.
What comp would that have been?
Trying to think. That it was
That-
when John Harris and me and him went down to London for this one. It was about 3 months after getting my belt.
Yeah. Would he have been blue belt at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fresh blue belt, ish.
I remember. I think I'd just come back training at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember this. I remember you two going to London.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And again, like every time I compete, I have a problem. And I think it was the day before I went and did the MMA class and did something wrong with my hand, and my hand swelled up like 3
yeah,
times the
so
size.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think
everyone kept telling me, don't go and compete.
I think I was in that MMA class.
Oh, was you?
Yeah, because did me, you, and I always remember me, you, and Sam and a few others went out for a 7-bone, and then the next day Sam was like, because Sam was teaching the MMA class. Do you remember?
Oh, was he?
Yeah, and he was like, "Come and do it, come and do it, come and do it," and me and you were like, "Oh, yeah, all right then."
Yeah.
So I think I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. Hand just swelled up. It was like 3 times the size. My brother and everyone was just like, yeah, you shouldn't compete. Like, you're not going to be able to use your hand. And I was just like, again, could coat them all. I'll be fine. Tape it up a little bit. It'll be good. Go and have a go. Obviously, I didn't win. I've got one hand.
Yeah.
It was hurting quite a lot, to be fair. But that day we got to see Tom Hardy compete as well. So that was fun. So I got bronze, which sounds impressive with a bad hand, but there was only 3 of us.
so default.
Yeah, so I just got a bronze just because there was only 3 of us.
This is actually a subject that I want to bring up later in a podcast. Another podcast is default medals and celebrating default medals. So we'll get into that.
Yeah, so there's not much to say about that. I had a messed up hand.
Yeah.
I tried to compete, didn't really go well, and I lost.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
You still tried?
Yeah, gave it a go.
Yeah, that's it.
Probably didn't do my hand any favours because even now, like, it's a little bit like tweaky.
Yeah.
That's the same for my knee. I think that just happens when you don't go to the hospital after something. Actually, saying that, no, I did go to the hospital for my hand because the lady, the nurse I spoke to, she actually trained jiu-jitsu.
Oh, wow.
So we were chatting about all that, and there was like this trainee sat there, didn't have a clue what was going on.
Yeah.
And we're talking about choking each other and stuff.
She probably thought you was into something else.
Yeah. But I think that was the only time I've actually been to the hospital about an injury. Because with my work, I kind of need both my hands.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get it fixed or make sure nothing was broken.
John's a male masseuse.
Yeah. From that, I ended up getting into a new relationship at Purple Belt. And it was really good, to be fair. Started doing a lot of things, balanced my life out. So I wasn't training all the time. Because one thing I know I tend to do is if I make a mistake or mess something up, I'll learn from it somewhat. So in previous dating, I put jiu-jitsu before everything.
Yeah.
And that went wrong.
Although
yeah.
The argument to that is that you're still training jiu-jitsu, but not in a relationship. So potentially, jiu-jitsu is the
problem.
No, jiu-jitsu is the cure here. It's your relationships that are the problem.
Could be. But no, so I learned from the previous one, it's like, right, don't put training before the person or friendships or relationships. So I balanced it a little bit more. Working, but then also training enough to keep me balanced.
I was just saying, the only argument with that is that a healthy relationship should accept that
what you need.
You train.
Yeah.
Like if, like when you start talking to someone, you're not exactly going to be seeing them all the time because you can be like, oh yeah, I'm training tonight, I'm teaching tomorrow morning or whatever. So you got to find the person that's going to be like, that is your life.
Yeah.
Like you do train,
have to accept.
And if they can't or they try and stop you training, then that's probably not the.
She always said she never wanted me to miss a training session. Like, oh, don't skip it and stuff like that. I just not off this.
That's probably because she saw pictures of you when you were like 120 kilos. And thought, fuck that. Keep training, John.
Do not go back to that because I'm gone.
Yeah.
No, so off the bat, like in my head, I told myself not to like say. For instance, I made this mistake before, where like I had something planned with someone, and then a seminar got rearranged, and then I cancelled those plans so I can still make the seminar. And
It's legit.
yeah, obviously stuff like that. That's what I mean. I wasn't like skipping training. I just made time at weekends occasionally to be able to meet them and hang out. And yeah, things were really good. And at that point, I ended up going to the competition that we're thinking of, Neon,
Yeah.
which was Southampton, wasn't it?
Yeah, down that way somewhere. That was my first comp. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like fresh back, white belt, like, yeah.
And at this
I can't
point,
even remember when that was though. That feels like a long time ago.
last year at some point.
No, it wasn't. It's got to be the year before that.
That can't be. I wasn't with her that long. It was last year.
Was it?
Yeah, it has to be.
Must have been very early then.
Uh,
Anyway, yeah. We digress.
Oh, I'm getting so lost.
Yeah, same.
But no. What was I going to say? Yeah, so I went down with her.
Yes,
Dropped her
of
off
course you did, because I
yeah.
met you in the car park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I dropped her off in the town because
Yeah.
she was nervous about meeting a bunch of my friends, and she didn't really like sweaty men.
Only you
It's
individually.
like, some people have that as like an ick sort of
Yeah.
thing, don't they? They just don't like sweat or like bare feet and stuff like that. So dropped her off, came meet up with everyone, did the comp, and I fought one of my friends who I met through Sub Club, Gareth, who trains down south. That day I was really dehydrated.
Of course you were.
Again.
Yeah.
Something wrong. If I had literally drank anything that morning, I would have not made weight.
Really, that close?
Yeah, it was that close.
Was that the one? Was it you that was jogging up and down in the warming up area with your hoodie on? Someone was that we knew, weren't they?
Might have been.
I think it was you.
It was either me or my brother, probably.
Yeah, that's it. It was one of you two, because I remember going upstairs and warming up with both of you. And
just someone just jogging around.
jogging up and down. I was like, what's going on here?
Someone's not making weight.
Yeah.
And I thought, who did I fight first? I think it was Gareth, yeah. And that was a good fight. He's so strong, like he does kettlebells like every single day. And he switched, at that point he had switched gyms as well. And like from when I last rolled with him to then, like his game was so much better.
Yeah.
And he absolutely just smashed me.
First round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next fight was against a guy called Jake. Really talented guy. I think he's a brown belt now. And he again just smashed me. There was but I trained with his coach a couple of days before, or the weekend before, and I remember Jake mentioning something about like they knew about my guard and they had already planned what they were going to do.
And it worked, obviously.
Yeah, it worked really well.
Was that the comp where there was quite a famous video, like a viral video of you doing like a takedown, really nice, like ankle pick takedown on someone? Was that comp?
No, that comp was in Nogi.
Yeah, I think so.
That was back when I was a blue belt.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
That day it was just me, Idwell, and Lottie went to that one.
Right. Yeah.
And that day I haven't even put that comp in here.
Yeah. So.
But that comp in particular, we just went down. 3 of us just thought keep it nice and chill, no expectations, and. The first fight, the guy just kept trying to spam the same pass and just end up in my close guard every single time. And then I think I ended up getting a bit frustrated. And then he tried to run off, so I just grabbed his ankle as he ran and then just kicked the other one out.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I think I got silver that day.
Nice.
From what I can remember. But back to the Neon. That was your first comp back. Mine didn't go too well. I lost. Got bronze. Default. But quite a few people competed that day. John got double gold, didn't he?
Yeah, there was a lot of us went down. Yeah, there was a lot of like quite a big group of each belt.
And didn't
John
Lewis as well choke someone unconscious, standing guillotine?
John Harashmachuk, whatever you say his name. Sorry, is he got gold, I think, or double gold, and yeah, that was good.
That video of Lewis getting the standing guillotine
Yeah.
and just like
I
drops
think
him
that was
like
like
a
his
dead body.
first comp as well.
Yeah.
Like
It
just.
just dropped him.
Yeah.
Just like lifeless body.
Oh
just falls
yeah,
to the
yeah,
floor.
that's it. Yeah, because the ref didn't stop it, did he?
No.
And everyone was shouting like, "He's out, he's out!" And
Yeah.
Lewis just lets go of him. And he just falls over.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
like,
oh.
probably let him down
Yeah.
gently, but like it was his first comp. I think it was a white belt at the
Yeah,
time,
he was.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
And that was just an insane clip to see.
Mm.
But it was a good day out. Didn't go as planned. I got ripped for it by the missus, saying, "Oh, you're a loser" and stuff like that. Which I was, oh, damn it! Like,
Yeah.
next time I'm gonna have to put some effort in
Yeah.
because she hasn't seen me win yet. So that was a good day out. A lot of us going down there, getting quite a few medals back.
I didn't. I
Did
lost.
you not?
No, yeah, I lost. I got mounted triangle, and he just sat on me for like 4 minutes.
Oh, really?
I think Bernie just gave up coaching me in the end. He's like, "You got to get out of there," and I'm just like, I didn't know what. I was just like, yeah,
You just stayed there.
yeah. And then in the end, I just tapped.
Almost like a bit of a brain freeze.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, twice that's happened to me. I'll
Yeah.
say I'll get into it with mine, but yeah, twice at comp that's happened to me where I've just absolutely like, you know, when everyone's shouting behind you and you just like, I just go blank
Yeah.
and I can't focus on it properly. So yeah, what I need to do is wear like noise cancelling earplugs or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
After that was about 2 months after that, we had the super fight.
Budo.
The Budo.
Yeah, we both went, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was controversial for me.
Oh yeah,
I've versed a guy who I've trained with,
Matt.
for a while now. He trains down at Basingstoke. We're both under pressure, so we cross-train quite a bit. So yeah, we had a fight, good back and forth. Like he'd pass my guard with a cartwheel pass.
He's really good at judo, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's takedowns. So like off the bat, I was just like, I'm not going to play
Pull
with
guard.
this. Yeah. But he got a nice cartwheel pass on me, and then everyone like started cheering, and I think I swept him, and no one cheered. So I was like, looked around and was like, come on, look,
Yeah,
cheer me on. So yeah, it was a good time. At the end, we were close to the edge of the mat, and I started working my assassin's choke. I had like one hook in, and
Be careful what you say here.
yeah, from one angle.
You had 2 hooks in, John. Alright, that's it.
From one angle, it looked like I didn't have a second hook in, but then another camera angle, you see,
You had like your pinky in.
yeah, my like little toe in,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it
It
was kind
counts.
of in, yeah. We got reset to back in the middle of the mats, and because like I think in the moment with adrenaline and everything, it felt like I had both hooks in, so I just slipped both my hooks fully in, and then continued with my assassin's choke. If I'd reset with how my foot actually was, would it have made a difference? I'm not 100% sure. We'll never know.
We could always rematch.
Yeah, we could do a rematch at some point. But yeah, it was a good day. That was a bit controversial. But in a way, like in my head, it was like a bit of a downer for me because like I felt like I did good, but then there was like this controversial ending to it. I was like, oh well.
Yeah.
So I didn't really post much about it. Didn't like get excited about the win or anything. But you had a good day.
Yeah, I did.
And that was a good rule set for
white
white belts.
Yeah, it was 5-minute match regardless, and as
Yeah.
many subs in that 5-minute match obviously won. It was good. Yeah, it was really good. I was a bit disappointed because I didn't get.
But then we'll get into that next week when
Yes.
we talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't want to give too much
No,
away.
that's it. Yeah.
Keep the excitement for the listeners.
Yes.
What actually happened with Mason? They'll
Yeah.
be on the edge of their seat or in their car screaming at.
I know what happened.
But that was the first super fight for me.
Same as, and I say I really enjoyed that day. I was nervous as anything. Like that was the most nervous I've ever been for a comp. But the whole setup, the whole way they organised the event, like everything, it felt like you were like a celebrity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Everyone there just watching the one fight.
Walking in from your corner, like
Yeah. It was a good vibe. And for the first one that they had ever done,
so
was-
smooth.
everything ran so smoothly. It was such a good time.
I was going to say something else then, but again, I'll leave it till next week. Yeah.
Then from there, I did my first seminar from after that comp. Not straight after, obviously. A couple of weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah.
Month and
When
a
was
half.
this?
Did you not? You didn't come to it.
I obviously not. No.
Do you even know I did one?
I have a feeling you went over to Wokingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taught in the gi, taking the back, and I think I did show him the assassin's choke as well. Because at that point I've used it twice at competition and it's worked.
Yeah,
so
that's it, yeah.
Taught that. That was interesting time. Nervous first time doing a seminar. Wasn't sure if do I have the skill to be able to do a seminar? Do I actually charge? And it's I think I charge enough to be able to pay to be able to go do it.
I mean, not that to say this isn't meant as like an insult or anything, but I think the coach of, am I thinking of the right one, where the coach he's just started recently, he's a blue belt, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is that the right gym that I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
So obviously having a purple belt come in is probably obviously they train under a black belt, but having a purple belt come in is probably
pretty good.
Yeah.
So went and did that. That was a good time, showing some people some techniques that I enjoy, sharing it with other people that I don't usually train with. I really enjoyed it, and that's why I teach my classes, because I enjoy showing people things that work for me. Might not necessarily work for everyone that I show it to, but it's going to work for someone. And
I think that's just jiu-jitsu in itself, though.
Being able to share.
Every coach in the world is going to show something that's not going to work for some and does work for others. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And early days of teaching, I was showing a leg drag pass from AOJ, and that worked so well for Cameron.
Yeah.
He ended up doing it to everyone, and it was just working so much for him in the club. I was just when you see that and it works for someone so well, it just gives you this buzz.
And it's weird, that thing of when you're a coach and you teach something and then a student gets it on you and taps you or whatever, it's probably because I don't know, but it's probably it's like a bit of a win but a bit of a lose, because it's you're getting tapped, but it's also oh, this guy's just tapped me with something I taught. So it's it's obviously a bit of a a good moment, really, in a weird way.
At this point, after the seminar, is roughly when training started to slow a bit down for me. I stopped training weekends, stopped training on Mondays.
Yeah.
Because at this point, relationship got deeper into it, so I made sure I gave them time.
Yeah.
Which I was happy to do, and I enjoyed it. That happened, and then Bernie up getting his black belt.
Yes.
Not long after that.
At a Yuki seminar.
Yeah. That was a really good day.
Yeah, it was.
Seeing someone I've been training with him since he was a blue belt, and see how small the club was back then when I first started, and then to where it is now.
Yeah. And
see him going through his belts, it was just amazing to see.
Even at the promotions,
and getting it from Yuki as well.
Yeah, at the promotions the other day, there's 50 or 55 people on the mats, and that's huge,
Yeah.
Newbury's come such a long way. Obviously, I've only really known it as quite a big club, really. But obviously, I've known Bernie for a long time, so I've known of his club and how it started with sort of 5 or 6 members, sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's just incredible to see the change in how much knowledge is at the club now to where it was when I first started.
Oh, yeah.
And it's some people had dropped off or started training elsewhere. And I always thought I would train at Basingstoke or whatever, get some more classes in, learn some more as well. But unless you stick to the place is never going to progress. If everyone always gets to their blue belt and then goes off somewhere else, the club's never going to progress. You've got to have those select few people just sticking with it and just constantly going with the club.
Is this a dig at your brother?
No. He left for his own reasons. It was mixed reasons, but that's not my place to say anything on that. But I will say I stayed, Sam.
Yeah. At least someone will stay true to the cause.
Yeah. I love my brother.
That's why you get buggy choked, though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have happened to you.
Yeah.
So
if Sam didn't get buggy chokes, none of this would have happened. I always take the mick with my brother, but he is so much better than me at jiu-jitsu. I will admit that here right now. Like,
it's on record.
Yep. He studies it. He does everything he needs to do to get where he is now. And like, he's a fantastic. How do you say it? Not fantastic. He's very good at jiu-jitsu, and he knows his game, and he's very good at sticking to that and just progressing that. Whereas I sort of jump around. Like 1 week or for a month, I'll be doing like pressure passing and just slowing it down, and then all of a sudden this submission starts coming back into my head, and I start doing that again.
Yeah.
I quite like the fact that my game's sort of flowing, bouncy around a bit.
Yeah, so you're saying your brother's like a one-trick pony sort of thing.
A very good one-trick pony. One that very rarely I submit.
Yeah.
When I get lucky, I'll pass his guard. But no, at this point, Bernie's got his black belt. I'm training a lot less. Still teaching Sam's classes on the Wednesday mornings. No
still
gi.
covering, yeah.
Yep, still covering. And teaching my Friday mornings in the gi going on. And at this point, I feel we're getting close to where I am now.
Yeah.
Which is like a few months back. Going through a breakup again.
Mm-hmm.
Just seems to how my life ends up going. It's just
I shouldn't laugh. But
you have to try and find laughter and everything, I think.
It's funny because like for the last few months, like you've been abusing us about it. You'll be like, my girlfriend left me. Like,
like that's one thing that I tend to try and do is like in a bad situation, especially when people are like saying something nice or like, oh, me and my missus did this. I'll try and like just ruin the mood completely by saying, oh, I can't do that because I haven't got a girlfriend anymore. Just like,
I find it funny.
Yeah, that's what it's meant to be, and trying to stay positive, which is difficult, I think. And this is why like I find so much from jiu-jitsu because going through that breakup was completely different to any other. And going from a certain way of life, doing things with these people, and then suddenly it all disappearing was quite a big shock, and it's like a completely different way of life again.
Yeah.
I've gone back to having all this time at weekends, not knowing what to do with myself. But one thing I did know was like, again, when it first happened, it was a real dark time for me again, similar to like when I lost my dog. I got really low. I remember sitting in my unit on like a weekend, just being alone and just not knowing what to do with myself.
Yeah, worried about.
No, like I know.
Like, look at the example, right? So me and my now wife, but girlfriend at the time, we were on holiday, weren't we, in Wales?
Yeah.
And you went through a breakup. You were going through a breakup. Oh, no, it wasn't a breakup, really, was it?
No, it was just a bad time.
Yeah, it was just a bit of a bad time.
That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, and you rang me and you were like, I don't know how it happened, but
I think it's because I posted a picture of being up Brecon.
That was it. And I was like, oh, I'm in Wales. And you were like, oh, yeah, I'm not feeling great. I've just come. And I was like, oh, do you want to just come round? And you just like drove up, saw us. Like, I don't think you should ever be worried about speaking to your friends, especially the friends that we have.
Yeah.
Like,
they're very supportive. That's one thing I really do appreciate about my friend group is they're honest. They'll tell you as it is. Like someone the other day, one of my friends, well, I'd say the other day when I went through this, it was one of the first people I spoke to when I first found out. And they just told me straight as it is. It's like, John, you tend to put all your eggs into one basket and like you get too intertwined in it. But I feel this time, like it was just different. Going on holidays, like I hadn't been abroad in God knows how many years. Going to that.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you were like some international jet setter. It was like 3 holidays in 1 year. We were all like, okay.
Yeah, and it's like the first time I booked a holiday, I didn't really know what I was doing. I wanted to make it special, and it was like a year together. And I ended up taking her to Santorini, and absolutely loved it. I would highly recommend to anyone going there. It's a bit expensive. My bank account did take quite a big hit, but I wanted to make it a special day, or special weekend. And I taught the day I was flying. I didn't want to miss my class because it's my class. Like it's like a, what do you call it? I look at it as like a job. Like I can't just skip. So I try and teach as much as I can without taking too much time off. And taught Friday morning and then hopped on a plane and went to Santorini.
Did you take a gi?
No.
Oh.
Didn't take any jiu-jitsu stuff from this holiday.
Yeah, I did on my honeymoon.
Did you?
Yeah, I'll get on.
I'm not sure how well that went down, but
no, I did. I didn't end up training, but I did. Yeah.
As I was saying, going through the breakup, like I always stay true to myself, and no matter what happens, I always try and be a nice person. And that's one thing. Like through the previous relationship where I like lost all my money and I had nothing, it's just like, this is what it is. I can't control it. I'll just get on with it.
Yeah.
And this time round, like it's mentally tiring for me, but I'm sinking myself more into work this time round.
Building a business.
Yeah, like last time I just dove into training 11 times a week, whereas this time I'm diving myself into work. Like I'm hoping next year I'm going to try and get someone part-time, because it's getting to the point, especially with the projects I'm doing. People with work don't really listen to this, so I can say it here. But I'm planning on like opening up an online store for the business as well.
Yeah.
To get rid of some of the stock that I have here.
Yeah.
And just trying to expand and do more with what I'm currently doing.
And we got this.
Exactly, and we started a podcast.
Yeah.
That's one thing I thought was a big step for me. Get myself out there, because like with the business that I have, I've never like promoted that it's me, or it's always been behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. I never speak about it. But now I'm trying to put myself out there, and just like I got to the point where I was just like, it's either I give up now or I just go guns blazing and think, do everything I can.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a lot now with the work, pushing that, still training, still teaching.
Training a lot now, to be fair.
Am I?
Yeah.
People definitely notice the difference.
Yeah.
Like Cam was saying, like I look completely different. Like so far I've lost, I think, just over a stone.
So you and another John are having a battle, aren't you?
Yeah.
First person under 90.
Yeah.
Who I don't know who's winning.
He's winning at the moment. At the start when we decided to do this, I think.
But those donuts on your desk there probably.
When we just first decided to do this challenge, I think he was about 2 kg ahead of me. Where I was just like, that just gives me more incentive to try and push harder. And the other day I went for a jog on the common halfway through the day, and I sent him a video just saying like, give up now, like sit down, have a donut, you earned it, while I was going for a jog. And he just responded and was just like, have you literally just gone up the common to do a 7-second video and then drive home?
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck you. Yeah, so what's happened. I can't change it. No matter what I say, it's not going to make a difference.
But jiu-jitsu has been your constant.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
Always getting you through.
Yeah.
And that's why we always say about how good it is for your mental health.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu, like without jiu-jitsu, God knows where I'd be at this point.
But then you think like
all the people that I've met through
exactly,
jiu-jitsu.
yeah, the friends that you've built up, and relationships.
Like I knew you before jiu-jitsu through friends, but until jits we haven't really communicated that much, have we?
No.
And
now I can't get rid of you.
Yeah.
And we've had to start a podcast.
Yeah. I'll be moving in next.
Yeah.
You'll adopt me.
Yeah, that's it. My adopted brown belt.
Yeah. But yeah, so just concentrating on work, getting that going, and just trying to stay focused. It's been, as I said before, it's been difficult. There's times where like I'd go on a downer, but then go train or go see some mates, and it picks me back up again. And I've got a good friend group at work as well. Made a couple new friends up here. One of which she does massages. She's gone through breakup and stuff. She's in a new relationship. Which she's really happy in. Which like we've spoken about it through while I had the massage and stuff. And what she's done has been great, and I think it's pushed me to do more with my work as well from what she's spoken about.
Yeah.
But getting regular massages definitely helps with the jiu-jitsu as well. But the community I've got around me up here at training, just on a day-to-day basis, the people like my friend group is just, I don't think you can get a better one than the people that you meet in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone's got your back.
Yeah.
Everyone
Jiu-jitsu,
wants the best for you.
Yeah, and everyone who does jiu-jitsu knows how hard it is and how difficult it is, and they know, I think a lot of people do it because of mental health as well. Like, it's such a big thing that helps me mentally, keeps me stable. Like, if I'm having a really bad day, just getting on the mats, you forget about everything. Like, and I don't know if it's the best thing in the sense of it, either you forget about it and then you leave there feeling much better, or if it's a bad thing that you almost use it as a...
I think it's good to be used in the right way.
But
I think sometimes you definitely used it as a coping mechanism to forget about the world.
Yeah.
But obviously physical exercise is always, for mental health, is always like one of the best things. I don't know why, like, doctors and that they should just prescribe like exercise for everything. Like, you get the blood pumping. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but you produce some like hormone in your brain. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, and it's just good for you. It's just like, it is just good for you. And like, the plus side of jiu-jitsu is that you can't really be like thinking about anything else, because if someone's trying to strangle you, you have to be thinking about that. So obviously that helps. I think that helps. How involved it is helps.
Like, my mind, I don't know, like, obviously I don't know how your mind works, but I know I'm always battling in my head of like going the negative way or going the positive way. Like, one side of me is always saying, oh no, sit here, mope and be depressed about this situation, and I've always been someone as well that likes to try and find an answer or fix something. As a kid, I would always watch my dad do electrics and then try and do it after him. Like, it's just one of those things, and I think I still try and, in these situations, try fix something that's not fixable. Like, in my head, everything that went wrong is all very simple and easily fixed. But you're not the other person, or you're not the other situation. Or and it's like, I know my issues, communication. For instance, doing the podcast is really pushing myself out and talking, putting myself out there is one of the steps I'm trying to do to make a difference for future. And I can't remember what I was saying. I've lost track. But
so going back to sort of like, so we're sort of going through your journey. But this has sort of all led us up to the present day. Which led us up well to you getting promoted to your brown belt on Saturday, gone.
Saturday just gone. So when this goes out, it will be a week after. So it'll be after the Saturday before.
But crazy. Long journey.
That was overwhelming. So much love came from that. Like, the day itself was amazing. So many people there. We had over like 50 people, and Ben came back. He had moved to Isle of Wight. He had come back to join in for the day.
To whip you.
Jesus, there was a lot of that. And it was just such a good day. There's so many people there, as I said. We had, like, was it 4 or 5 black belts there? I think it's 5.
Andy, Chris, Bernie, Kev, Jeff. And then Arta got his black belt.
So 6. And we went to the pub after as well. Had a good time. Good vibes. Good people. You just can't beat the community.
That's it.
As far as I'm aware, and from everything I've experienced this far in life, I've never met a better group of people than at jiu-jitsu.
Perfect.
Like, you can't beat it. I don't know where. Go to chess. Like, how many people, like, you're going to build friendships in chess?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've said it on a previous podcast that.
With like the boxing and stuff like that. You don't meet better people than jiu-jitsu, I think. Obviously, there is probably out there some gyms that are probably not as welcoming. But for us in particular,
we're lucky.
And the gyms that I've been to around here, everyone's so welcoming, everyone's so friendly. I think because everyone knows how hard it is, and everyone's got their own story. They've got their own battles they're facing in life. Like, some people are going to have a lot harder life than what I've got. I know that for sure. But they're there for the same reason.
Yeah.
Because they enjoy it. And it's an outlet just to sort of forget about the rest of the world and just enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
It's such a primal thing.
Yeah,
as well.
100%. Yeah. I think that's a good time. I think
That's
good time to sign off.
There's not much else after
Yeah.
that. We are literally at.
Yeah, we're up to the present day.
Yeah.
The journey starts again now.
Yeah. The journey of my brown belt. I'm like a week in.
That's it.
And you're the first person to submit me as well.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Were you waiting for me to mention that?
No, I forgot. I actually forgot. But yeah, you can.
So you were my first person who submitted me.
It's funny because the reason why I did that is because you always do. I always remember when we go into a new year, you're always like, oh, it's been 2 weeks since I've been submitted, or there was something the other time and you were like, oh, it's been X amount of time since I was. And then so I was like, I literally watched you get your brown belt, and I kept trying to roll with you, but everyone was trying to roll with you, and I was like, oh no. And then I rolled with you. Just went straight in, didn't I?
Yeah.
I can't even remember how I got into it, but got into a footlock position and like finished it. And then I was like, stopped. I was just like, please tell me I was the first person to submit you. And you're like, yeah, you were. I was like, right.
It almost felt like my toes were going to slip out, but then at the same point, my toes were hurting so much. I was just like, it's either going to break my foot or my toes are going to slip out and I'll be all right. And I was just like, I'm just going to tap.
Yeah.
And let Mason have this one.
Thank you.
That will be in the memory for my whole brown belt time.
Blue belt.
You submitted me.
Blue belt submits fresh brown belt.
Yep. We didn't even get to the point talking about Louis putting me unconscious.
Oh.
At purple belt when he got his blue.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next time.
Yeah.
I'll mention it. Yeah.
That'll be a story for another
yeah.
pod. But hope you enjoyed this one. It's a bit of a long one. The next one's probably going to be a long one as well because we're going to go into detail on Mason's journey and how he got into jiu-jitsu and everything jiu-jitsu related.
Yeah.
And what happened on his honeymoon with his jiu-jitsu kit.
Oh, yeah. Not a lot.
But nice one.
We're recording this a bit late again, so just for Bernie, because he said he was shocked that it gets edited. So, we've got to edit it now.
Yep.
And then we'll be out Monday.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Open mat time.
Yep. See you later.
See you later.